So the point of a test screening is to show it in front of an audience that will be open to the movie, because we're all so close to the material.
We've seen movies that have tested really well not do well. We've seen movies test really poorly do great.
It was really nerve-wracking.
It's sort of like making a dinner and having the souffle fall at the last minute. You just don't serve it. You know, you have to come up with something else.
Good afternoon, Eli.
We have been test screening our movies since we started making them. If you have a movie that doesn't please people, spending $30 million to market it and get people in who aren't going to be pleased is not going to solve the problem by any way, shape, or form. So we find it a very valuable tool.
So they're trying to gauge more accurately what people like or dislike, and I think before it was more of just a general feeling whether they liked the movie or not. They weren't going into specifics as much as they do now.
Nowadays, people fill out cards, it's calculated.
We have an idea already of who we think the target audience is.
Definitely with Final Destination, we were going for it's sort of like a teen thriller horror crowd.
The only thing about the test screening the audience that you should worry about is your recruit. Are you recruiting the right people to watch your movie? If you look at the questionnaire and they say, this is not my kind of movie, I wouldn't watch a scary movie, don't listen to what he has to say, because he's never going to pay $8 anyways.
Somebody will say they don't like the violence, they don't like the language, and then you see that they're 55 years old and haven't seen any hot movies in the last 10 years. Then you know that that's just not something that you necessarily have to abide by.
They might say, you want to see this horror movie with Devon Sawa, and give a 1 or 2 line synopsis of what the movie is.
You recruit people that appeal to this sort of thing, like maybe someone who's seen Scream.
Well, at the first screening, everyone's always very anxious because very few people have seen the movie.
For me, it was a matter of saying, well, after the screening, am I going to be fired?
The special effects are incomplete, there's a temporary score, and before the movie, the guy will come out and go, okay, this is a temporary situation, and when it's in the theater, it'll look just like every other movie.
We sort of hold our breath and see how it goes, because that's the real test.
They watch the movie, and the filmmakers have a chance to watch your reaction.
Pretty early on in this movie, we knew that we had them.
Stuff scene we had no idea was going to play like that.
Then you can just drop fucking dead.
And it looked like a wave had washed over the audience. People were kind of rocking back and forth.
Ooh, oh, you're going, hey, no.
I was just blown away.
After the bus hit, we added like 40 seconds extra, because after the first screening, we realized that the next scene had gone on halfway through before the audience had actually calmed down from the reaction from the bus hit. Hello? As the screening went on, I relaxed more and more.
There were some things in the middle of the movie originally. There was a romance between the two lead characters and a very long scene with them on the beach. And that didn't really work.
In the original cut of the beach scene, they make love on the beach.
It just suddenly jumps on her, and that's like this, and then the scene is over, and it didn't really satisfy insofar as sort of teen, sexy stuff is concerned.
We thought the only way you can really cheat death, or the only way you can really beat death, is to bring a new life into the world, because you can't really beat death.
But then, you know, you got to the pregnancy bit, and you could just tell, oops, I lost him.
Alex, get away from there!
And then when Alex died, you just went, damn it, I lost him again.
Through the whole movie, they were having fun and yelling at the screen and jumping in their seats with the bus, with the flying head, with everything. And then the end, when Alex dies, they're just sitting there.
Little more. You're almost there. Little more. You have a beautiful baby boy. I felt Alex pass through me. I felt like he died.
The whole baby thing they didn't like. It was part of the love story with Alex and Claire didn't work, and they didn't buy the baby at the end. They thought it was goofy and wasn't satisfying enough.
It was too sweet and almost predictable compared to the rest of the movie, where at every minute there was a new surprise.
Sometimes you can shoot above the taste of an audience, which doesn't mean that you're smart and that they're not so smart, but means that there is a sort of Bible of entertainment which has certain tenets in it, and that this particular idea for the ending just shot above the taste level and the expectation level and the surprise level that the audience was looking for. And this sort of spiritual ending, which had to do with Clear having a child and having the child be the vindication of how you beat death, was perhaps a little too esoteric and not visceral enough for the public that we were trying to attract, which was arguably a postmodern Scream crowd.
Alex.
That was another thing in the first test. People really didn't like Carter. They didn't like that Carter lived.
Hey.
Hey. I'm sorry Alex never got to see him.
He sees him. Every day.
Claire. Alex was right. It did skip us. There was a design, and we beat it. We won.
Now that we've won, Carter, there's a chance at a full life. Chance that I'm not going to waste. Because for all of us, there is that one day.
The loftier goals of the ending kind of fell on deaf ears a little bit.
One day.
You know, we went for something a little more, you know, sentimental, a little, you know, a little deeper, and they just wanted to see more death.
Afterwards, they give out these questionnaires, and people fill them out.
So there's a series of standard questions, how they would rate the movie, would they recommend it to their friends? And then there's a bunch of open-ended questions as well, where we ask them to tell us which scenes they liked best and least, what they would tell their friends about the movie, that sort of thing. And then there are also questions that are tailored specifically to the movie. We ask them to rate the characters and the relationships in the movie, the humor, the romance, the horror.
You can just go insane if you read all of these.
Corny love scene.
It scared the crap out of me.
The monkeys hanging were weird.
If you were to describe the movie to a friend, what would you say? Gay.
This movie kicks ass.
Scenes like least were tit, tit, sex, death.
I know what you did last summer, she say, but it says, I didn't even see it.
Not enough sex.
What did you like best about the movie? Porno scene. There isn't no porno scene.
What did you like least about the movie? The shitting. What?
Let's go take a shit.
I've never seen so many toilet scenes in the movie, but yeah, I know Jim and Glenn have some fetish.
What is holding you back from rating this movie excellent? And it says, more pussy. I don't even want to say the next stuff, because this is just disgusting. It's basically just numbers, you know, it's a numbers game.
And we use those numbers in films that test inordinately poorly in test screenings to really refashion our marketing commitment. And as shocking as this may seem to filmmakers, there's no reason to literally throw good money after bad.
It's more about the playability, you know, than actual hard numbers at the end of the day. You know, you see that the audience is with you throughout the movie, then you're not concerned if the numbers don't reflect that.
The numbers were above average, but not like substantially above average.
That was actually a really good sign because it said that if we fixed up some of the problematic areas, we were going to be in really good shape.
We talk about how it went last night, why we think it didn't test so well and what was missing. The people didn't like that Alex died. And so in the room, we just start saying, well, how do we fix this? So we decided that we needed to come up with a new ending. We don't want Alex to die at the end, and we want Carter to die.
Let's go completely the opposite of what we had, which was this kind of thoughtful, contemplative ending. Let's just go for an adrenaline hit. We know what works. What works is the death scenes.
We needed to play with those beats again, and then one big wallop that would kill Carter.
Our mandate in this test screening process is always, let's try it. And in this case, even though reshooting the ending surprisingly cost almost $2 million because it was like 6 days of work, I felt very strongly that we needed to do something dramatic in that sense, not only dramatically dramatic, but also dramatic in terms of change to improve the movie for the audience that it was intended for. Let's give the audience what they want. They want Alex to live, they want the bad guy to die.
I told you were next. And it just skipped me. So who's next?
The audience just started applauding and going nuts.
People actually jumped out of their seats and cheered.
The scores improved like 50%. I mean, it was like astounding.
You have to see the movie.
The new ending obviously works better for the audience and it works better for this kind of movie.
The ending goes and the sign comes down and people go, hey, woo, they go nuts. And the lights come on. You know, I turned around, looked at Bob, and he was looking at me like, I own you. I was right. And I'm like, okay, all right, you're right.
This is not about final cut, it's just about collaboration. Both Jim and Glenn were very collaborative on the process of what are we going to do to fix this, and it wasn't like, this is my ending and I insist on it.
They knew that the first part of the movie was really strong, and if they could fix that ending, that they would really have a good film on their hands.
Great filmmakers make movies that don't work. Very experienced people make movies that don't work.
Steven Spielberg doesn't test his movies. You know, we have to, you know, and I think that we should listen.
It's a case-by-case basis if you do exactly what a test audience wants.
Well, in the wrong hands, it's like this is a very dangerous process, and we're very cautious with testing. It's not the be-all and end-all here at New Line. I mean, the first Austin Powers tested horribly. The 7 did not test very well. These are some of our biggest successes.
We're not making this movie for our parents or for our friends. We're making it for as big an audience as we can get. You're not at the mercy of the audience. That's who you're making all this stuff for, is the audience. So if they don't like it, you have a problem. You have to deal with it because that's what you do.
I'll see you soon. That was not